Speed on the ball becomes increasingly important in these exercises. The level of difficulty is adjusted so that players are constantly challenged. An 8-year-old player cuts the ball with the inside of either foot. Pulling the ball back with the sole of the foot and controlling it with the inside of the same foot. Later, this will be developed as a move to beat an opponent. Rolling the sole of the foot over the ball and tapping it back with the inside of the same foot. Again, the better the control, the greater the speed. Pulling the ball back with the sole of the foot and pushing it forward with the instep of the same foot. Alternately pulling the ball across the body with the inside of the foot and stopping it with the inside of the opposite foot. The ball is pulled across the body with the sole of the foot and controlled by rolling the sole of the opposite foot over the ball, then tapping back with the inside of that foot. These different exercises enable us to vary practices and help motivate the young players to practice and discover new combinations for themselves at home. Homework is a cornerstone of the Curver method. Stepping over the ball from outside to inside and pulling the ball back with the sole of the same foot. The player stops the ball with the sole of his front foot, steps over with that foot, and then pulls the ball through with the instep of his trailing foot, while turning and taking the ball with the inside of the trailing foot in the opposite direction. turning the ball across the body with the front part of the sole of the foot. As in most of these exercises, ankle, knee, and hip joint flexibility is improved. Rolling the sole of the foot over the ball and stopping it with the inside of the same foot while turning and taking the ball with the sole of the other foot. Pull the ball back under the body with the sole of the foot, then pull it with the opposite sole while turning. The ball is pulled with the sole of the foot and stopped with the instep. All exercises in this section can be practiced individually and in groups. These 9-year-olds are pushing the ball across their body with the inside of the foot and pulling it back with the sole. Their confident control is the result of dedicated practice. The player rolls the ball across his body with the instep and pulls it back with the sole of the foot. Another example of fast footwork using the instep and sole of the foot. All these fast footwork exercises make ideal homework, as the player needs only a ball and a small area to work in. Good ball control must be developed before moving on to the next stages of the program. The ball is played with the instep, then turned 180 degrees with the front part of the sole of the foot. Small-sided games are played regularly throughout practice. This ensures variety and fun. Two teams of 3 players, 2 balls. 2 from each team play one-on-one. The third player rests between 2 cones and changes regularly with a teammate without interrupting the game. The game is not yet goal-oriented, and the players are encouraged to play freely. By now they are confident and want to keep the ball and sometimes forget their teammates are waiting for their turn. The player rolls the ball across his body with the inside of his foot and stops it with the inside of the opposite foot. Players are encouraged to make up their own combinations, which increases their interest and pleasure in working with the ball. The player pulls the ball across his body with the sole of the foot, takes it with the outside of the same foot, then steps over with the opposite foot and repeats the sequence. Another exercise combining foot speed and control. scissor kicking around the ball and taking it with the outside of the opposite foot while moving upfield. This exercise develops later into a move to beat an opponent. All the fast footwork exercises can be used by players regardless of age as a means of developing better control. The player fakes to take the ball with the outside of his foot and then takes it in the opposite direction with the front part of the inside of that foot and carries the ball with the outside of his opposite foot, changes feet, and repeats. These young players, all under 11, demonstrate the wonderful ball feeling and fast footwork that can be developed through this coaching method. Even at this early age, they have a sure touch with their feet, similar to that of good basketball players with their hands. A 3-on-3 game. One player plays goalkeeper in turn. 11-a-side games for 10-year-olds and under, where the players get few touches of the ball, do little to improve technique. Young players should be playing 3-on-3, 4-on-4, or at most 5-on-5, where winning is not nearly as important as the development of their technique, creativity, and above all, their enjoyment. This first part of the program dealt with skills the young players need to progress to the next stages, which are all game-related attacking skills.